Friday, June 24th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Some weather changes set to unfold here for us as we go through the next couple of days here. And also, we'll talk about when the next good chance for showers and storms is going to roll on in. And we'll take a look at the tropics here at the tail end of this video. Let's take a look back, first of all, at the storm reports from yesterday and last night. And notice in the Carolinas, most of the storms yesterday were roughly Interstate 95 over toward the coast. And then overnight, we had some pretty big storms in eastern Tennessee, up into Kentucky, West Virginia, and parts of Ohio. In fact, there was one really intense thunderstorm that produced a possible tornado a little bit west of Knoxville. That storm was heavily rotating for a period of time. Now this morning, during the 5 a.m. hour, there's still some pretty good thunderstorm activity in eastern Tennessee. That is right ahead of a cold front that's going to be sliding through our region today. On the temperature map here, you do get into some cooler air on the backside of that front, some 50s and 60s from the Great Lakes into the plains and parts of the Ohio valleys, mainly 70s in much of the Carolinas this morning. Now here's the dew point map, and there's going to be a noticeable drop in the dew point over the next 24 hours. In fact, we're setting up for about as good of a Saturday as you can have this time of year, with pretty low levels of humidity and warm but not overly hot afternoon temperatures. Here's the upper air chart today off the European model, trough swinging by just off to our north. Now, what happens as we get into next week? This is Tuesday, the ridge close enough to us to keep us pretty warm, but the core of the heat will be off to our west, and then the European is insistent that the ridge goes up in the plains, and we kind of stay on the northwest flow side of that, which that would keep us from seeing any extreme heat. It would also open us up to maybe a complex of storms or two to try to develop and roll down our way late in the week. But that's pure conjecture at this point. On the GFS here, this is the activity. It fires up this evening, and I think this is going to be a day where most of the Interstate 85 corridor is dry, but you get to say I-95 over toward the coast. There'll be some thunderstorms firing up this afternoon. Some could be severe once again. And then Saturday, it looks like most of North Carolina is going to be dry. Could be a few storms in South Carolina and Georgia, but most of North Carolina and certainly the Virginia is gearing up for a dry Saturday with much lower levels of humidity, so a pretty good day overall. Sunday, this is Sunday evening on the GFS, and I've gone ahead and I've left in the small chance for a couple of thunderstorms late Sunday, but it really is looking more and more like Monday is going to be the day where we have good chances for showers and storms as the disturbance approaches, so I will continue to mention good chances for showers and thunderstorms on Monday. Tuesday in the evening, we see our next cold front approaching on the GFS, and then exactly how that behaves will kind of determine the specifics with the end of next week, but the GFS pulls that front basically to the North and South Carolina border region by the mid and late parts of next week, which if that's the case, you're going to have to maintain some chance of showers and storms, but the European pushes it a little farther south and keeps us mainly dry Thursday and Friday, so we'll see. A lot of highs around the lower side of the 90s, it looks like, for a good chunk of next week. All right, in the tropics, no organized systems. Still a flare-up of thunderstorms in the northwestern Gulf. That's on the tail end of our front. Also, some broad, disorganized thunderstorms in the Caribbean Sea. And still a lot of the modeling trying to pop something here by early next week in the Caribbean Sea that moves into the Gulf of Mexico. This is a look at the Canadian model. It's way far south, down out at 114 hours with a developing low pressure way down near Mexico in the southern Bay of Campeche, and the GFS is actually now one of the further north models at 168 hours, has that organized low in far north Mexico, close to South Texas. But most of the other modeling, if this develops, brings it pretty far south into the Gulf of Mexico. So not a great prospect here for development due to its close proximity to land, but something to at least watch as we begin to round out the first month of the Atlantic Basin hurricane season. All right, that is it for this Friday edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a great weekend, and God bless.